Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Tunggasugitti, nuluppa, tasimu, sakkatitimoyataqtara, neuralink brain implant liriyo, kanuging mga tusarmangin mga siutluni, takwaniyaksun interesting nutluni. Kanuging ako kaya asinlingay. Neuralink brain implants. Neuralink's brain chip, also called the link, is an implantable device designed to read and decode brain signals to allow users to control a computer with their thoughts. Isumatuinnarluni computer. The coin-sized implant is surgically placed in the skull and uses ultra-thin threads with over 1,000 electrodes to monitor neural activity. Skull, brain mo. It connects wirelessly via Bluetooth to external devices and can translate Neuralink patterns and actions. Telephone kaya Bluetooth connected. Enabling functions like cursor control, web browsing, and texting. The technology is currently in clinical trials, primarily focusing on individuals with severe paralysis to help them regain control of digital devices. Past trials. Past trials have primarily involved animal testing on pigs, sheep, rats, mice, and monkeys, and have more recently expanded to human clinical trials as part of its PRIME study. Animal trials ongoing since at least 2017. Neuralink conducted extensive animal trials as part of developing its brain-computer interface, BCI. Technology initially in partnership with the University of California, Davis, and later in its own in-house facilities. In-house facilities, Goal. Primary objective was to test the safety of implants and surgical robot and to evaluate the functionality of the device for translating neural signals into external device commands. Wi-Fi to In 2020, Neuralink demonstrated a pig with an implant named Gertrude, and an improv video was released of a macaque, and a pager playing the video game Pong using only its thoughts. Mancheri Pong mi pingwang lo, isumami arrested. Controversy issues. Vegetarian na qarasaujanik kaya. Aulattittijunnaqullugu. Chronic infection, paralysis, brain swelling, and pain, which in many cases led to the animals being euthanized. The company reported that initial work helped establish safer surgical protocols and a fully implanted device designed for future use, leading to FDA approval for human trials in May 2023. Kasi kadalik dyan ay nakjiti takot lang magmatay. Inyong nakawin siyang institution. Tago ko tayo. Human trials ongoing since 2024. Hindi nakawin siya katay doktor. Kanin niya. The trial has enrolled patients with quadriplegia caused by cervical spinal cord injury or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. Amyotrophic lateral ALS na tinatawag. First participants. The first human patient, Nolan Arbaugh, received an implant in January 2024. He demonstrated the ability to move a computer cursor, playing video games, and the use of computer by thinking alone. An issue later emerged where some of the implants was detached, though the device remained functional. Canadian participants. In August and September 2025, 2 more patients in Canada received the implants, marking the first procedures outside the United States. Both were able to control a computer cursor by thought within minutes of the surgery. Karasakkut, ilisivviujut kami. Ayaw kami pasukawit lang. Dami ko. Minutes. Overall status. Early 2025, the first 3 participants had used their implants for a combined total of over 670 days. With usage increases as they integrate the technology into their daily lives, the company is proceeding with its trials, with the FDA's approval for fixes related to the thread retraction issue. Neuralink on animals. How testing has been linked to the deaths of estimated 1,500 animals since 2018. Ito ko yun nila at ito ko tayo unok tayo nila anok dito ko kawisa ka siya mutak kakasama niyo siya nakapagla ko tayo patang happy birthday October 30, 2025. Tekuri man na tiga. Elon Musk claimed to have successfully put a Neuralink implant into a human for the first time this week. Dito kawin na kawin
Well, Neuralink makes a device that gets surgically implanted in a person's brain, and the user can then control a computer or a smartphone using only their mind. And it doesn't affect physical movement for a person with a spinal cord injury, but for this first human participant, it's affected his life in profound ways.
I didn't have anything to wake up for in the morning, and this has changed that for me.
In a GMA broadcast exclusive, Nolan Arbaugh, the first human implanted with a Neuralink chip in his brain, is telling his story.
I accepted that I was paralyzed and that was my life. I always held out hope that it would all get better.
At 22 years old, Nolan says he dove headfirst in waist-deep water, struck something, and sustained a spinal cord injury. He couldn't move from the shoulders down.
From the time of your injury until earlier this year. What was your daily life like?
I mean, one thing about being paralyzed is that there's a lot of time to sit and think. And so I thought through basically my whole life and realized all the mistakes I'd made and what I could do better.
Then, just last year, Noland, now 30, receiving a life-changing opportunity.
One day, one of my buddies from college called me up. We talked pretty regularly, and he was like, hey, Neuralink, they opened up the human trials. And I said, what's Neuralink?
Neuralink, co-founded by Elon Musk, is an experimental implantable brain-computer interface, or BCI, a chip surgically implanted by a robot and connected by threads to a patient's brain that allows the patient to control a computer or smartphone with their mind.
This is all from there to there.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Neuralink is not the only company working on this technology. Several others are also testing their BCIs in paralyzed volunteers. Noland now joins that small group as Neuralink's first patient.
I was just very happy that I would be a part of something that I believe is so monumental and this next step forward of helping people with paralysis.
What can you do now with the chip implanted that you could not do prior?
I can control a computer just like anyone else can, which is not something I was able to do beforehand.
You just played some music?
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Do you worry because you are the first patient that something unforeseen could go wrong now that this is inside your head?
I wouldn't say worry. It was something where I knew that if I did this, then it would take a lot of headache and heartache away from the people down the road.
Just last week, news that some of the threads in Noland's brain had retracted, affecting the performance of the device.
How'd you take the news when they told you that the threads had retracted?
Yeah, it was really hard. It was very, very hard to give up all of the amazing things that I was able to do. I think I had cried basically afterwards.
The problem becoming an opportunity for the makers of Neuralink to explore solutions.
The reason we do clinical trial and early feasibility trial is to uncover these sort of issues as early as possible before they get marketed. And we rolled up our sleeves and found various different ways to for Noland be able to recover his performance, which we have successfully been able to do.
As for Noland, the future of the technology only looks bright.
It's going to be amazing when someone can have a spinal cord injury, go into a hospital, get surgery, and walk out a couple days later. I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's as far away as people might think.
Noland's mom is his primary care.
Ano ka kaya ko yung hakta ko ni piyuma yung itaman ni pilakati tayo yung naktangan. Ano ko yung kailangan? Kaya ko yung hakta ko yung Bluetooth mo kaya tayo yung natang Bluetooth mo kami. Kaya ko tukter ako hakta ko piyumangitang ato ko mangitang min atok kita tinakil. Sabi kaya kaya. Tapaswitan na. Tawan na kulong.
Honestly, I had no idea what Neuralink was. When I applied, one of my buddies called me up one day and was like, you want to get a chip in your brain? I said, got nothing better to do. So I decided to apply over the phone with him, which is a pretty interesting juxtaposition of where I was then. I wasn't even able to apply online. And so I did that, and by the grace of God, got in. My whole reason for doing it was just to help people from the beginning. I knew that if it worked, if it didn't, whatever the case may be, I would be helping someone. They would have learned something. And 4 months after I applied, I was getting brain surgery. So, yeah.
Paano ko kaya ko? Hakta dyan kasi winityayo ka makay. At taka sa winityayo Bluetooth ko nakasiti tayo kakasan. Kapiyasig kaya ka mo tayo may takas. Ito sili kaya. Kaya namin nga si tayo katakas.